Alright guys, so update on the aphids. This plant had, man, I plucked about 10 aphids off of it. So that's, I plucked like 8 off the other day, and then there was 10 on there today. You can see the leaves are a little wrinkly. When these aphids suck at the bottom of the leaves, they'll get like that. So this one's got a good amount of ladybugs on it right now. I see random ladybugs here, there, and everywhere. The bag that they were in, I actually set it. I set it down here next to this plant, so they're all over it. Unfortunately, the only thing that sucks is that plant, I couldn't find a single aphid on it. And I think the reason why is because it's so big and mature, which, don't worry, aphids will get on them too, because this one's starting to actually get some buds and flowers on it. But, oh, I just seen a little wasp. That's the first wasp I've seen all year. So, he's seen me and he's seen the ladybugs and took off, but the wasps are really good. So I'm talking about aphid control. I did a video yesterday. If you guys want to watch it, go right ahead. Let's look at these other plants. All right, so there's the bag that they come in. What I did was I already kind of sprinkled whatever ones were. So I had opened that up and put it in a Ziploc, and then I'm just taking this bag and setting it against plants, and then you'll see, look at a whole bunch of ladybugs. And there, I just set it on that Prematali plant. I'll leave it there since I seen them coming out and going on the other ones. There's not many left in there, but what I'll do is, most of them have came out because they want to go, you know. But what I'll do is I'll cut the top of that bag, the rest of it. Once these ones that are on the outside and kind of roam around, once they come off, because they're going to want to go for water. I did water these plants and then I sprayed the tops of them, but it's a warm day today, so that water evaporated real quick. So yeah, releasing ladybugs. Sprinkle some on the plants at night. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be around tonight, and I don't want these things sitting around another day, so I had to do these during the daytime. There was a good overcast, and now the sun's coming out, so it's best to do it when there's an overcast or when there is or when it's nighttime. So, but it's either way, I had to let these go today. You see what's happening to this plant right here, or what happened to it? That is slugs. So let's talk about slugs. The slugs live under there. Okay, at nighttime, they'll slither their way up, and they'll get on my leaves, and they will decimate them. They'll try anyway. What I did to stop that temporarily is I took a little bit of Carolina Reaper powder and some coffee grounds, and I sprinkle it all around these plants that are getting hit with the slugs real bad. And let's move this bag over here. That plant has plenty on. These are Prematalis, man. I've had bad luck with Prematalis. Mrs. Bullcow burning the plants up with a frying pan. Me had a fungus issue with all of the Prematalis from the same seed pack last year, and then this year they were late starters, stunted growth. Germination rates weren't nowhere near as good as all the other peppers that I did, and then I have this problem. So yeah, but I do have Prematalis. I think I have a total of 5 plants, red Prematali. Then I have about 10 to 12 caramel and chocolate. So slugs, yeah, I just said, you know, that people say that the coffee grounds work, and I know for a fact they're not going to like that Reaper powder. And so what happened was, the next day I come out here, and on that plant right there, on that soil where you're looking now, and right there was a ton of slug goo. So you know what happened. Them slugs went up and started to crawl across that soil, and all of a sudden they felt froggy, man. They probably could smell them coffee grounds, but they went for it anyway, and they got that Reaper powder touching their raw skin, and they didn't like it. So yeah, that's the slug. There's some slug goo there. There was just a fly on it. So yeah, slugs have not ever been really too bad of an issue with me, but when they start, when they start doing that, they could rip your plant up. I mean, these plants would probably be doing a lot better if they didn't have a bunch of holes in them. So, but I haven't seen any aphids on them. Maybe aphids and slugs don't like each other. I don't know. I haven't seen any on these 3 plants right here, but this is just a slug area. It just stays kind of shaded over here. I mean, it's not completely shaded. These are getting sun right now, but the slugs, Yeah, last year I tried the beer. I put like a applesauce jar lid like down in the soil, like just like pushed it down in, then poured beer in there, and I didn't find any dead slugs in the beer the next day. But what happened was I didn't see any slugs after that. So I don't know if it worked or not. If it was just coincidence that they took off after that, or maybe they got some beer and got drunk and went and fell somewhere else and died. But so yeah, so I did lose quite a few. You guys seen I put 2 nights ago I put some ladybugs out, and the next day there was quite a few of them, and then last night I looked and there was less, of course, and then this morning, man, I seen hardly any. So I think the reason why is because these ladybugs need food and water. Just like, oh, there's one. Oh, he's gone. Goodbye, my friend. Wow, he's flying way up high in the sky. Like he's going over the tree line and everything. Yeah, so some of them, they're going to fly off. The thing is, the problem is this, is if there's not an aphid infestation, they're probably not going to lay their eggs. They like to lay their eggs near aphid infestations so that the babies have something to eat. And so that's one issue, is I don't have a lot of aphids, so there's not a lot of food for them. And of course the plants, they'll dry out, and so they'll get their little bit of water. Right now you see that this leaf is still wet right there.
Saturday, May 27th, prepare yourself for Drugger Battle Live! Watch the 6 fire-breathing chili heads take on the infamous Drugger Challenge! Your Insanity Society featuring Never Better Club, Casually Roasting, Uncle Bullcow, and Sundance 270. Watch them square off to see who can take the heat of the Drugger Challenge. So get ready for Drugger Battle Live!
And we are back. I hope y'all liked the little commercial there. Shout out to Sundance 270. Alright guys, so it's been about 3.5 hours, and you can see these bad boys are hanging out. Most of the moisture that was on the leaves is gone, so they might start crawling down to try to get some water from the dirt, but there they are. So for now, it's because it's an overcast. I think if it's too sunny, they will crawl down lower, or they'll take off and find a shady spot somewhere else, or they will. There goes one there. These little plants. Quite a few here. This is the first plant that I set the bag up against. So you see them in the little crevices like that. Yeah. It's a good place for them, so that's where aphids like to go. If they're not under the leaves, they're in the corners like that. So anyways, back to treating for aphids. I wanted to say the Castile soap was recommended to me by Walker Texas Peppers, and he had if you guys haven't checked out Walker Texas Peppers, go check out his channel. He's been growing peppers for a few years. He's got a lot of varieties, and he's like all of us. He's went through his trials and tribulations, and he's got some really good stuff. You can see the slugs. Look at what the slugs have done to this plant. This thing is just short and bushy. I think they might have ate the top off of it. I don't know, but that thing is tore up. But these ladybugs hanging out pretty good. I'm seeing them on every plant for now because of that overcast that saved me. But anyways, Walker, he came with a full arsenal last year. They had a really big aphid problem, and he used the mantises, the ladybugs, the hornets, and the Castile soap. And he said when you get a bad infestation, he swears by it. He says so. The Castile soap is excellent. I did an experiment, and I actually used some of on one plant, and there was, I think, 8 aphids on it. I tried the Murphy's oil soap and didn't spray it down with water afterwards, and a couple days later there was aphids on it again. So I don't know if that stuff works I think if you spray it right on the aphids, I don't know, maybe it kills them, but as far as like preventive, they don't seem to mind the taste of it. They're going back for those plants. But I have heard good things about Murphy's oil soap. Look at some of these little plants. These little top caramel prematale right there. Yeah. This is what happens when you run out of big containers. You see they go from 1 gallon, 3 gallon, and 5 gallon. And then of course down here I got some of these big, I think these are 10 gallon or 7. I don't remember if they're 7 or 10 gallon, but these plants love them. Look at this thing. Look how beautiful that is. The stalk's getting really thick on it. The leaf is all deformed though. Oh, it's snapped. That's why. See the hole? Yeah. It's alright. I'll leave it on there for now. But yeah, the Castile soap was recommended to me for a bad infestation. And that's I looked it up and seen a lot of people gave it really good reviews, and they said that for a bad infestation, that's what you want to use. They said it works better than the Dawn dish soap. It works better than the Murphy's oil soap. And I heard from a lot of people that said that the Dawn dish soap is not good unless you're just using it to break down neem oil and you're going to spray that way. And I would say try to stay away from the neem oil and the dish soap unless it's the end of the season and you're overwintering plants. And then I'd say go right ahead and use that. I think I used neem oil with a little dot of dish soap last year when I overwintered a couple plants. I didn't take care of my overwintered plants, by the way. But here's the one that made it. I only had a few, but this is the one. Look at the stalk on that thing. Look at that. It's short and stout. It's actually, this thing's flowering already. I mean, it's got buds on it. Yeah, that's a 7-pot Primo chocolate. I'm glad that plant made it. It's from 2021 or 2020. 2021 is when that plant's from. It actually, you see this prematale plant down there. That one's getting hit with the slugs too. But like I said, I put a little bit of coffee grounds and Reaper powder. I'd say you don't got to use Reaper powder. You can use cayenne. You know, you don't want to waste all your Reaper powder. But it seemed to work. I don't see any more holes in the leaves. The slugs did a lot of damage. But yeah. So this plant's from it's from 2021, and I overwintered it. And then last year I rejuvenated it and brought it back outside. And it's weird because the pods were they weren't real bumpy, and there wasn't a lot of them with tails the first year. And then the second year, man, these things were straight up like just the perfect 7-pot Primo shape. But they're brown, of course, they're chocolate. And to me, I'm going to tell you right now, they seemed hotter. I mean, I ate a whole one in 2021. You guys go back and watch the video. And I was fine. Last year, man, I ate a half of one a couple of times and got ripped and swore I would never ever eat this pepper again because it was too much for me. But yeah, it's kind of weird. This thing's there's been spiders over here, which is good. You don't see any aphids, not a single one. I don't know if those little spiders eat the aphids or not, but there was a spider over here for a while. So yeah, I might overwinter this plant again. I said I'm pretty much don't really feel like, I don't know. I don't really want to overwinter stuff, but if I do overwinter anything, if I just keep one plant, it'll be this frickin' thing. It's so cool because the branches are they're not growing like a normal overwinter. I don't know. It's just, look at how short and stocky and stout that thing is, you know? You guys should see the roots on it. I might end up making a banshee out of this. So yeah, the Castile soap, I've looked into it, and like I said, I dealt with aphids indoors before. For indoors, if you guys haven't watched the video from yesterday, go watch it. I talk more about this, so this would be the part 2 to that. Oh, look at them, they're all bunched up in there. Good. They're just kind of hanging out right now, but this is the one plant that had the most aphids right there, and now it's the plant with the most ladybugs. So hopefully they'll hang out for a couple days and clean up the aphids. And the main thing I'm worried about is the aphids when these plants start flowering, you see this. There's another. This is a 7-pot Primo chocolate tube. You see it's flowering already. The aphids will completely mess your flower situation right up, man. The plants I had indoors last year, that's how I knew I had aphids. I didn't see any aphids. You just didn't see them, you know. And all of a sudden, I started seeing these my flower stems were brown and fuzzy looking, and that's because they got damaged.